despite what people say about the universe and all that, about heaven, or or that there's just and righteous beings in this universe, it's all bullshit. One thing about this universe is it's hell, and as long as there is evil, it's always going to be it's always going to be hell, because there's always going to be somebody suffering. There's always going to be somebody living in a dimension or a universe, or because there's places on the astral that people are taken to and damned for all eternity, and tormented, and their suffering never ends. And when you get to that point in the occult, when you get to that point in your spiritual evolution, or your spiritual path, when you climb high enough on that spiritual mountain, so to speak, and you start learning about the universe, and learning how souls can be damned, and how they can be destroyed, and how nobody gets a fair chance. I really don't think anybody gets a fair chance at life, and those that are born in the second hell really don't get a fair chance. And I'm not sure if anybody's born in the third, but I do know, I do think there's people born in the first, and I could say there's 3 levels to the hell that we live in. This universe, and you got those that are born outside the matrix, or or escaped from it. They live in the first hell, and the first hell is the best hell. It's the most, I want to say it's the most privileged hell, or or perhaps because I kind of think there really is no such thing as rights. If your rights can be taken away from you by other people, then or creatures, then it's a privilege. It's not a right. So I'm not too sure about the first hell, if what they have there is rights or privileges, but everything in this hell, in the second hell, those who are born in this matrix, those who are tied to it, all they have is a privilege, and I'm not too sure about the ones that control it, but us human beings, we're born into bondage. We're born into a prison that we can't taste, to smell. Just like that Matrix quote, where we everything that we have within this matrix can be taken from us any given moment. Everything that we gain in this matrix that we're allowed to have is a privilege, and can be taken from us any given moment. The only time that you could really say that these aren't really privileges anymore is if you escape this matrix, and you get shit truly, and you truly get shit on your own, because everything you get while you're still in the bondage of the matrix, in this prison, is nothing more than a privilege, and you've been allowed to have it. So people that are high up spiritual leaders and all that, and that have third eyes open, these people are allowed to have these psychic abilities and have a third eye open. If there is any genuine human being out there that actually has a fully open third eye, and there's sometimes I kind of doubt that, because I think the only ones that really do are the alien human hosts, and those humans that do not are actually the genuine human beings, the actual human beings, because once you open up a third eye, you can see the alien human hosts for what they are. You could see them all over the streets. You could see them on TV. Fucking, I really think they're everywhere. A shitload of people, and and they don't want that. They want their identity hidden, you know, and they'll do just about anything to keep it that way. And anyways, though, people keep on saying the Nordics are just and righteous, and especially the Nordics that get involved with the JOS. And then this is not true whatsoever, because as I mentioned, there's 3 levels to this hell that we live in. There's, you know, the Matrix. I mean, we're born into this Matrix. That's the 2nd level of hell. And then when the Matrix, because you know, the Matrix is all about destroying the human being. Well, keeping them alive just long enough for you know, the Matrix to turn these human beings into tools for the aliens that control this planet. Once you're no longer, once you start wearing down as a tool, and this is like when you start waking up, becoming wise about the Matrix, becoming wise about these aliens, becoming wise about your own psychic potential, these aliens will do start to that's when they'll, I think, will place an astral parasite on people, and most people, I think, aren't really aware of this. I mean, I think most people get hosted before they even realize that they do have anything on them, on the astral. Very few people, I think, like myself, are psychic enough to kind of realize what's going on before it actually happens. I've always kind of been psychic, even back during my childhood. So, you know, growing up, I mean, I've always saw shit, you know, out of the corner of my eyes, or sometimes in the real world itself, you know. And I've always, you know, sensed shit. I made people do shit telepathically. I mean, I've seen some shit growing up, way before I got involved with the JOS or anything like that. But so, you know, I give credit to my Native American side on top of that, because my Native, you know, the Native America has been, you know, one of the last places, you know, Native American people have been one of the last people to be attacked by this system, by this, you know, I mean, this system, this Matrix has always been here, but when, you know, the Europeans got here and all that, they implemented a better version of the Matrix, the system, onto the people here. But it's always been here, you know. These aliens have always ruled over Native America, you know. But they also, you know, knew that the Europeans were coming. And like I said, these aliens, they play planet Earth out as a big game of chess. We're like a game of chess. But how do we stand a chance against them if we don't know the rules? We don't know the rules on how to play. We don't know, you know, we might even be missing a few pieces. So it's not a fair game to begin with, because these aliens they're always 1 or 2 steps ahead of us. But and you know, which kind of leads me to believe that, you know, that's one reason why we may never escape their Matrix. But anyways, Native America has been one of the last ones that really been, like, you know, attacked by, like, mainstream religions like Christianity and all that, which are designed to destroy the spiritual side of life. And there's many other sources out there that talk about, you know, Christianity being a danger to the spiritual, you know, to the spiritual health of a human being. It's just not the JOS. I'm sure there's other sources out there if you really dig deep, and you know, and you can find it. And I know many occultists that aren't well, I don't know many, but I've talked to many that aren't of the JOS, and very much disagree with them, and they say the same shit as the JOS does, that Christianity and Islam are religions that are designed to, you know, remove spirituality. I mean, a lot of people really don't understand is that that they follow these organizations like the JOS, and just because the JOS throws them a few doggy bones or a steak or something like that, doesn't mean that they're your friend, or you know, that's bait. And they're giving you fucking enough to earn your trust. And it's like kind of like the carrot on the treadmill. That's how I always felt like that rabbit on the treadmill chasing the carrot when I was with the JOS. You know, I was promised. I never heard of that carrot, and I was, you know, back before I made that dedication, and I've always been searching for it though. I mean, I heard rumors of it, but I never seen it. But I was always searching for it, you know. And so I went to the JOS, the Nordics that helped run the JOS and the Greys, because I really think that they work side by side together. And I've never seen, you know, I've never seen any of the Nordics ever attack the Greys or anything like that, or chase them off. And even if they did, I mean, that's even questionable in itself too, because it's like, I mean, how do you know they're not staging that shit? Well, I talked to Satan and his demons, and I talked to the Nordics. They're good and they're beautiful, and that's enough proof right there that, you know, they're nice to me. That's not proof. They could be tricking you. They could be doing anything, you know. I mean, they could be tricking you. I mean, they could be staging that shit to earn your trust, and then you can be bait and bait other people into the JOS, and then eventually they get you down into this corner where you can't get out of. By the time you realize you're in that corner, you're probably already cut off from the real world, so to speak, to the point where, you know, you can't yell for help. And they have their ways of doing it. I really do think that, like, ways that I really can't wrap my mind around. Maybe I could if I didn't have this parasite on me, you know, because this thing really keeps me stuck here. Like I said, I would not be on this. I mean, I would not be on this planet right now if this alien parasite wasn't on me. I'd be doing shit that, you know, nobody would fucking believe. I mean, nobody would believe the shit I could do if I didn't have this alien parasite on me. I could back it up, I could prove it, but anybody who's capable of removing this thing isn't gonna do that, because they already know the rules. If they even get that far, you know, and to, you know, the aliens that run the astral, the spirits and all that, and those who delve down far enough, if they even get to that point, because there's people out there that claim they are at that point, but you can never be too sure, because they could be alien human hosts, and that's a huge factor here on this planet, because there's a lot of them walking the streets, and there's a lot of them in society. I mean, like I said, one could go to the schizophrenic forums and all that, and find out that, and see for yourself of all the experiences of people having with these alien human hosts, and how they're confused, how people can telepathically read their minds and shit like that, and know shit about their life that they possibly can't fucking know. Well, guess what? They're not human, and they're not human on the soul level. They're aliens. The human souls that used to inhabit those human bodies have been long destroyed and replaced with the alien, you know, with the alien soul. Because these aliens, they attach to people on the astral, they hijack human bodies, they get the aura weak enough to the point where they can penetrate through the aura and then merge themselves with the astral body of the human being, devour their souls in the process, more than likely, and then take over the vessel from there and live their lives out as a human being until death, where they either, you know, move on to their next human host, or they become something more than what they were, you know, as they were an alien human host. Because, you know, I'm always kind of skeptical about these Nordics too, because I kind of wonder, you know, maybe once upon a time ago, when they first started off on their past, they were the same type of alien that's attached to me now, and then once they took over the human body that they now inhabit, they became something more, you know, after death, or, you know, during their time as the alien human host, and when they died, they became very similar to us in a lot of ways, and then perhaps they reincarnate into you know, into something a lot more similar. I don't know how that process goes, but I mean, I think where I'm coming from is pretty plausible, scientifically. It's pretty logically plausible, you know. But anyways, though, let's see. I forgot my place. That's one of the things about having one of these alien parasites on you, because, you know, you start talking about one thing and then you forget the original point that you want to make, you know, and it keeps you off track like that, and it's not fun. But I might as well just go on with my other point I was gonna make. These Nordics, they're not good. The ones that work with the JOS, they're not. I mean, because like I said, there's three levels to this reality. There's three levels of hell, and this is hell. This is no heaven or paradise, you know. Being good is mostly illusion, I think, you know. We have this false sense of being good and all that, but then again, I don't know how false it is, because fucking they say that the universe itself is a contradiction. Mathematically speaking, I think in quantum physics, we're not supposed to be here, you know. Consciousness, I mean, none of us should even exist. I mean, the math, I guess, like the math, I don't know, you know. I've seen a video of Mikio Kaku talking about it, and other physicists saying that, you know, nobody knows why, you know, consciousness, why we're here, and where, you know, and where and what like what's behind consciousness, or what, or, you know, why you know, why consciousness is here, why does consciousness exist. Everybody can speculate. They can say it's a god, or, you know, or something else, but that's just speculation. There's no proof behind that, because mathematically speaking, is, you know, consciousness always existed. It always will, and there was no creator to it. But why is it here? You know, nobody knows that answer, and I don't think anybody can. And not even the aliens that control this planet, or the Nordics themselves. So I think that's the great mystery about it, you know. And anyways, though, yeah, there's three levels to this consciousness, three levels to this hell, and we're born in the second one. Those born outside the Matrix, that actually, you know, are ruled by some Matrix, by some aliens, and they're in the first hell. And then you got the third hell. Those that are born in the Matrix and don't make it out, and end up being enslaved, spiritually speaking, by, you know, having their souls compromised in some way, you know, and then they fucking resort to the third hell after a while of their, you know, of drifting away from the second, because you could either move forward or you can move backwards. But if you get caught up in that corner of the wall while you're in this Matrix, and then because, you know, you're born in a trap, you're born in a trap house, and if you get trapped within the trap house, then you go to the third hell, and the third hell, there ain't no coming back for you. You're damned. You're fucking there forever, and that's exactly what they're trying to do to me right now, and it feels like I'm on the verge of going to that third hell. You could say, like, you know, it's a border between the second hell and the third hell, and I'm standing. I'm in the second hell, but I'm almost standing, you know, directly on that border, you know, between the second and the third hell, and so, you know, fucking, I have quite a ways to go before I move up to the first hell, if I do, you know, and so anybody that does get up to the first hell, and what will you do with your life to prove that you're good, to prove, you know, your honor, to prove, you know, would you throw honor out the window? Would you throw fucking your good heart out the window, your righteousness, your just ways, or would you become an evil prick and live forever, or, you know, survive and fucking and do what you got to do to survive? I think a lot of people would choose the first one, but a lot of people are fucking scumbags at fucking heart. So, you know, that doesn't really surprise me. I mean, perhaps they're not scumbags at heart, but they're fucking definitely scumbags of the mind. And how can a righteous and just person, once they leave this matrix and know what they know, that delve down that rabbit hole far enough to know what they know, to know that there's people that are on the astral, similar to places like the Christian hell, since the Christian hell doesn't exist, but there is places on the astral that are similar to such, and there's people there being tortured for all eternity, and fucking how can you be cool with that? How can you fucking live a life of freedom like these Nordics supposedly live, you know, according to the JOS, that these Nordics are free and they're happy, and you know, they live their lives happily, and fucking, and they have good sex all the time, and fucking, I mean, and they look good, and fucking, and so forth and so forth, you know, fucking and just, I mean, they live in paradise, and fucking, you know, how can you fucking have that kind of life, and know that there's other people that are born into a matrix such as this, that didn't have a fair chance at life, like you more than likely have. Because according to the JOS, these Nordics were never born into a matrix like this. I mean, nothing like this ever fucking happened to them. I mean, they were never born into bondage like human beings. They were never born into a system such as this one. And then people seek their help and trusting them to get so that these Nordics can get them out. I mean, how? And do you see how silly that is? Because that's like me fucking going to a goddamn counselor seeking fucking advice on on my psychiatric health, and and my counselor, she's a full-blown fucking Christian, and she's more sucked into the matrix, more psychologically fucked than I am, and she's gonna give me advice on how to fix my life and how to make myself psychologically healthier and fucking, and it's like, bitch. I can see past your bullshit, you know, lies. I can see past Christianity. You're still sucked into that fucking religion. You're more psychologically fucked than I am. And you're gonna tell me, and you're gonna subscribe me to pills and say, I have to take these pills or I get locked up in some mental institution. Fuck you. And fucking, and I just, oh, it makes me fucking sick. And it's like, you know, it's like going to those Nordics, you know, that never been into a system like this, and that never been born into a matrix, and they think that they fucking understand my problems. They think they understand where I'm coming from and my misery. Bitch, you never fucking walked in my shoes. You don't see me a fucking assuming what it's like to be goddamn fucking have Down syndrome, or fucking or be that guy that lives his life in a wheelchair. I'm not gonna sit there and assume that I know what it's like, because you have to walk in those shoes 100% to really know what it's like. These Nordics have never walked in my shoes 100%. They never walked in these shoes of living in a matrix like this, and they're gonna say that and they're gonna tell me they know better and that they can fucking help me. That's a bullshit fucking lie. And conveniently, whether these Nordics are just that fucking, you know, whether these Nordics are really that dumb or not, I highly doubt they are. But I mean, if these Nordics truly believe that they're coming from a standpoint of being righteous and just and trying to help humans out of this matrix, then they themselves are born of the same system, and they themselves are manipulated. And considering just how human they are, because I mean, you'd have to be very similar to human beings if you fucking can breed with them. And according to the JOS, that's what these Nordics have done. They bred with humanity. They were able to fucking bear children with us. And since that's the case, then they have to be very similar on a DNA level compared to us. So they're not as fucking alien as the JOS makes them out to be. I mean, you would think that they would have evolved from primates. I mean, because if the DNA is vastly different as far as like alien genetics go, they wouldn't be able to breed with us. And so, you know, they have to be very. I'm no scientist, but I think I know enough in science to know that, you know, the DNA has to be fucking quite similar, or the mother is gonna reject it. You know, the mother is gonna reject that seed. You know, I mean, fucking that sperm cell, whatever. And I mean, you just can't have something like that. And fucking it's so fucking and it's like, you know, the people expect these Nordics to help you, and fucking I mean, where did they come from? Well, what kind of species did they evolve from? You know, I really tend to think that they're just you know, a hybrid form of human beings. And they're really no different from us, and I really think they're a genetically engineered species themselves, or perhaps they're alien human hosts and that, you know, got to this point in their in hijacking bodies over time, or using those bodies and becoming something more than just alien human hosts. I go through that process in the beginning of this video, so, you know, but but still, you know, people never really critically think about the fucking possibilities. And when I was with the JOS and I followed them, I was that same way. I never critically think about anything. I just wanted to believe the JOS over anything that fucking that I saw, that any information that I faced that contradicted the JOS in some way, or went to show me that there's a logical fallacy within what the JOS is saying, and I chose to ignore that because I wanted to believe that fucking, you know, despite any of the evidence that was in front of my face saying that the JOS is full of fucking shit, fucking I wanted to believe that they weren't anyways, because I was so weak to the point where I didn't want to come face to face with the fact that I could be fucking alone, that humanity could be alone, that we're in this matrix alone. There is no good beings out there guiding us, and the ones that are good are sucked into this matrix, fucking perhaps worse than we are. So, you know, fucking how can I explain to anybody that they're in a prison if I myself am born into the same prison as with them, and fucking, but only one of us really got that peek over the wall to know that, you know, there's life outside that prison, and you know, and these Nordics, if they are, you know, the manipulated human beings that I think they are, then they're born into this prison as well. But there's layers. Like I said, there's 3 layers to the prison system. You know, you got the trustee unit, you got minimum security, you know, where you know the average criminals go to, the ones that have like petty crimes and all that. And then you got the 3rd layer of the system, the 3rd prison part of the system, the 3rd prison system is maximum security, where all the killers go, the serial killers and shit like that, the people that are really a danger to society. But in this case, the people that are really a danger to the system, I would fucking probably be in max, because I have this fucking alien parasite on me. Without this alien parasite, I could bring this whole goddamn prison down in an instant. And other people out there that have an alien parasite on them, and that you know, and that are aware of it, they can probably do the same thing. So, you know, fucking I'm nothing special. I just fucking and we all have our own strengths and weaknesses on this planet. I think we all have our own special traits. And my special traits is, you know, I think is a gift that was given to me by my high functioning autism, because, you know, many great scientists around the world, you know, I mean, been attributed to having Asperger's, to having high functioning autism. Isaac Newton being one. And you know, the man who discovered gravity. I mean, you guys could look this up. I mean, even, you know, Mikio Kaku talks about this. And there's, you know, people that are low functioning autistics. A lot of them are even known to be savants and shit. Like, you know, like one guy with low functioning autism. I have high functioning autism. You know, people with high functioning autism have a average to high intelligence, whereas people with low functioning autism, they have a low intelligence. They suck at everything, but they're really good at one thing. And like, you know, like the movie Rain Man with Tom Cruise. If anybody ever seen it, I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's all right, but fucking but it explains what I'm talking about. Fucking with low functioning savants. Rain Man was a low functioning autistic. But he was really good at calculating large numbers with his mind. He sucked at everything else, but he was able to you could throw a shitload of pans, like thousands of like little like, you know, little pieces of fucking oats or something on the ground, on this, or, you know, you could tell him to what's 3,566 times 4,544, and he'd be able to just, you know, come up with the number right out back of his head, just like that. These people are proven to exist. So, you know, where we only know about the savants that can do, you know, shit that is outside the occult realm. But what about the savants that could do shit inside the occult realm? I would say Carrie, the 1970s movie Carrie, I would say she would be a autistic person, you know? She was awkward as fuck. She couldn't fucking make friends worth of shit. Fucking nobody really liked her. She was weird, but she was psychic as hell. I would say that would be an autistic, you know? She was good at everything else, but she fucking was shit at verbal communication, you know? So, you know, I mean, just imagine, you know, a high-functioning autistic or low-functioning autistic that was able to tap into their psychic mind a lot like they could with their conscious mind, as in, you know, adding huge numbers together and shit like that. I mean, there was one low-functioning autistic man that was he was a black dude. Fucking, I'm sure you could look him up on Google or some shit like that. But they flew him over like the city of Los Angeles and New York, and he was able to draw the entire city of New York and Los Angeles in like pure detail, not missing one little detail about the whole entire city. They actually have his drawing in New York, like New York airport or some shit. Like they have it drawing on the wall, like this big mural, so to speak. But hold on, there's somebody calling. Anyways, though, yeah. So anybody that I'm restarting the video now. I just got done with my phone conversation, which was pretty pointless again. But anyways, yeah, I was talking about how the Nordics aren't righteous or just, and that, you know, there's people that are trapped in the astral right now, suffering for all eternity, and there's you know, innocent people, kids included, probably. I mean, if you could come up with the possibility in your mind, and just launches the possibility, then it exists in some other universe, you know. And I think that's what quantum physics, you know, proves, that, you know, as long as there's a possibility, and it exists in some other universe, and I know there's going to be people that are going to choose not to believe in quantum physics or string theory and shit like that. The Joy Satan, you know, preaches against string theory and fucking, and it's just a theory. I know, I mean, it could not be real, but fucking but I do know that consciousness, one consciousness, and how this one consciousness ties into all of our brains. Our brains are receivers of consciousness. There's only one, and it ties into all life forms. And I tend to think all life forms tie into their own universes. And so, you know, but anyways, I'm trying to stay on topic though. And so, you know, you got people suffering on places in the astral forever, people that don't deserve to be there and shit. So if I were to free myself from this matrix and live in the first level of hell, and you know, like I said, dude, you know, there's 3 levels to a prison. There's 3 levels to this matrix. You got you know, minimum. You got trustee unit. Then you got fucking minimum security, where the average people are at, the average criminals, and then you got maximum security. These Nordics, they were born in fucking they were born in trustee, and they were given special privileges. And who knows? Maybe they, because, you know, maybe some of these inmates have family, and you know, maybe when some of these inmates are related to the warden, or, you know, or have family in high up government places or whatever, so they're given special privileges in prison. You could call the government and the warden the aliens, you know, the creatures that run this prison, and then that know, you know, life outside this matrix, whereas those that are born inside this prison have no idea of life outside the prison, outside the matrix. And then you got the Nordics, you know, that are born trustee. There's actually prisons around the world. Like, I think there's one prison in Mexico. There's another prison in Brazil, I think, or Belize or something like that. Where, you know, I know there's a prison in Mexico where female inmates are actually allowed to have their kids live with them, and they're actually allowed to take care of their kids in prison and shit like that. And like so, you know, or you could look at that big drug lord, what's his name? That Mexican drug cartel lord, Guzman, gosh, what's his name? His last name's Guzman, El Chapo Guzman. When he went to prison and all that, and I could even say the same for the other big old drug time big old cartel boss that was in Panama or somewhere in Latin America. I can't remember his name either, but his name, they made so many movies about this guy and shit. Some of you guys probably know who I'm talking about. Not most, but fuck, what's his name? It's fucking Parasite on me. It's such a pain in the ass. But anyways, these drug cartel bosses are known to have special fucking cells and shit, luxury cells, and they get this because they probably work. I mean, El Chapo Guzman probably worked with the CIA directly and shit like that, and he was chosen by the system. Nobody gets rich and becomes filthy rich, billionaires or famous because and not being involved in the cult or with these aliens. These aliens, they choose who becomes rich. They choose who becomes famous. There's levels to it. No average person off the street are going to become famous or become some movie actor or something like that without being an alien human host or without being some one of the chosen race of people. Starts with a J. They control Hollywood, they control the mainstream media, they control our government, they have big hook noses. I can't say who these people are because I'll get reported and fucking, and yeah, but and they're probably alien human hosts themselves, who knows, but fucking, I mean, you can know if you fucking, empower your psychic senses and open up your third eye and all that, but good luck with that route too, because, these aliens, like I said, you're born blindfolded into a war zone. If they don't want you to open up your third eye, they're not gonna let you open up your third eye. It's as simple as that. So fucking unless you get lucky. But then again, I mean, if you do, then I don't know how long can you last. Perhaps you fucking free yourself then and there, from this matrix. But I don't know, but. Anyways, I'm trying to say that there's special privileged inmates around the world. Some inmates are, like some police officers, some security officers within prison systems are actually known to dress up as inmates and spy on other inmates for the system, for the government. This is common knowledge too, and fucking, very big drug lords, people that work directly with the system and shit, are known to have special privileges in the prison system. Bigger cells, TV, fucking rugged carpet, fucking you name it. And fucking so these Nordics, they've always been part of the system, and they've always been born into that system. I think, yeah, considering if they are legit, legit to, I mean, as legit as a genuine human being or close to, fucking, then they're fucking privileged. I mean, they were born into the trustee unit. Now, and each time you hear long pauses, like if I pause and I'm like trying to think of something, then that's that alien on me that's fucking getting in the way of my thinking. And if you guys are psychic enough, then perhaps you could sense it. I mean, really kind of focus on my energy and try to read as you listen to me. Try to read, try to read my energy as best as you can, and then try to read, like when I stumble over my words and all that. Look deep into it, and perhaps you'll see another energy force manipulating my energy force, and that's the parasite doing that. That's the creature on me doing that, and it doesn't want me to talk about this shit because fucking because if I didn't have this creature on me, I'd be able to express myself the way I want to express myself, and I'd be able to put this all together in an elegant enough way to convince people that what I'm talking about is possibly true, and I'll be able to put it and I'll be able to explain it a hell of a lot better, putting it together in an elegant way, without forgetting some words and shit like that I want to add to the mix to what I'm saying, and that's what's happening right now, I think, too, because this thing's fucking making me fucking forget. It's a little piece of shit. These aliens, man, that control this planet are the worst of the worst. And they're the worst of the worst. Yeah, it's like, you know, you have degrees to your being a piece of shit, and there's like 3 levels to being a piece of shit, I would say. And fucking they're on the, I mean, they're on the highest level of being a piece of shit. And fucking whereas, you know, us human beings, we're on the lowest level, I think, to being that piece of garbage. But fucking you could split it up, I guess. You could say that there's the yin and yang. You know, on one side you got 3 levels to being a piece of shit, and on the other side you got 3 levels to being a piece of shit. But then again, I think on the yin side, the negative side, there's only 3 levels period to being a piece of shit. And fucking, I really, I don't know, you know, fucking, but I just know that the aliens that fucking control this planet, control this matrix and all that, they're the worst of the worst. And fucking, people have no fucking idea just how bad. Even now, I have an idea, but it won't even let me get on that level of, like, you know, realizing it, or, you know, expressing just how bad they truly are. And fucking, if I realized it, then I would get on that vibration, and then people would pick up on that vibe subconsciously. And considering how psychic you are, you would be conscious of that vibe, instead of just being subconsciously, you know, aware of it. And fucking, and you'll realize everything that I'm saying, fucking, there's truth to it. And then one of you, if you're psychic enough, more than likely would remove this fucking creature off of me willingly. And who knows, we'd probably both die. But fucking, I don't know, but I think if people really truly knew just how fucked up this planet is, I think somebody would have removed this off of me by now. But anyways, though, yeah, these Nordics, they're a fucking trustee unit. They're born into the trustee unit. They're born with special privileges and all that. And some of them even get enough privileges to the point of becoming security guards themselves. But they really never know. And there's some prisons around the world where the inmates actually become security guards. And these are usually in third world countries. But I think. But anyways, though, these Nordics, they pretty much they're born in this prison, and they're pretty much that fucking that prison inmate that you can't fucking trust whatsoever. They work with the wardens, they work with the prison system, they work with the government, and they're given special privileges because of it. That's your fucking Nordic for you. The ones that get involved on this planet, I think. And considering if they're not alien human hosts, or really are, you know, as fucked up as I think they are, like, you know, some evolved alien human host of some sort. But anyways, though, they're evil. They don't give a shit about fucking humanity suffering. They don't give a shit about, if they do, then they're manipulated fucking idiots. And like I said, just you know, they're prison inmates themselves, just privileged ones, and fucking they're ignorant. And so, you know, anybody that lives outside this matrix, and according to the JOS, the Nordics live outside this matrix, fucking then you know, living life knowing that there's people damned, knowing that there's people suffering, that's a selfish form of living. They're selfish. And how can you live this life? How can you live a life knowing that there's people out there suffering for all eternity and shit? Knowing that, you know, innocent lives, including children, are suffering and dying. Knowing that, you know, knowing of the damned, and then being able to live a happy life, living it up in paradise, in Dawat somewhere, knowing that this is the case. I'll never be able to be happy, ever. I'll never fucking be able to convince myself to be happy. I want to be able to live my life like that, knowing that there's others that suffer forever, you know? Fucking, to me, that would just feel selfishness on my part, because these people, most of these people, some of them don't even, you know, some or most don't even get a fair chance. They don't get a fair chance. Nobody gets a fair chance being born on this planet to leave it. So, you know, fucking, we're all, you know, they pick and choose. And I don't think anybody ever truly makes it outside this matrix. They make it to high levels, but they don't make it outside of this matrix. And like I said, that goes back to my sheep farm, dog, and wolf analogy, you know. But on my other video, if anybody wants to check that out, it's a pretty good video, I think. But it is called Sheep Farm Analogy, and it's a video I uploaded on my channel that I talk about, you know, how you know, you could compare life to patterns and analogies. You can make an analogy out of every pattern you see, you know. And so, you know, analogies fit well, I think, when it comes to, you know, kind of opening up people's eyes to how this matrix works. And so, you know, if I escape this matrix, would I be able to live my life happy? No. Well, would I make that sacrifice on my end to make things right, to honor those that are damned unfairly, to honor those that are suffering unfairly, to honor the children damned, the children that died, and fucking, you know, the innocent animals that are destroyed and shit like that? Because to me, animals are about the only thing that are innocent, you know. Anybody that's like third type consciousness, and there's 3 levels to consciousness too, you know. You got that of like a rock or plant, you know, it's alive on some level, but it's not aware of itself. I don't know if it's a plant is aware of itself or not, but then you got an animal that, you know, second level of consciousness. The animal can't think in terms of the future and shit like that. Can't really you know, isn't aware that it's naked or good or evil or anything like that, you know. And then you got third level consciousness. And then Mikio Kaku talks about these 3 levels of consciousness. And anybody should check that video out too. You can find it on YouTube. Just type in 3 levels of consciousness, Mikio Kaku. I think you'll find the video. But anyways, human beings, like, you know, no intelligent being, that knows, you know, that knows the difference between good and evil and shit like that. And it's like, you know, we're not innocent. We're not. I don't think any third level conscious being is innocent. And the only way that one can become that wolf, become that fucking embodiment of justice, is to take a sacrifice on their end and fucking and make themselves suffer in some way for all eternity, if you choose to live for all eternity. Or you go out with a bang, do something great for the innocent, do something great for those who are damned, for those who are stuck in the matrix, and fucking and end your life in the process. You know, like the way of the samurai. You know, the samurais to serve and for the betterment and greater good, and they'll take their lives in the process. That's like honor. You know, fucking prideful. That's like a species based on pride, a righteous and just species. Nordics don't do this shit. Not the ones that fucking mess with our affairs, anyways. They're selfish. And they're evil, you know. Evil spelled backwards is live. If you want to live, then you have to be evil. If you want to have a happy paradise life, then you're gonna be evil. You can't be good and be happy, because you'll be a fucking sooner or later you're gonna be in the gutter, or you're gonna fucking come to the realization that fucking you're a piece of shit. But either way though, you know, to be good, to be righteous, to be just, it's the way of the wolf, and the way of the wolf does not live a happy life. And they to have honor, to live, to fight evil is an ongoing fucking forever battle that you dedicate yourself to. And fucking and knowing that, you know, there's injustices that are taking place, and those that are going through those injustices are suffering forever. You know, you can never truly be happy and have a smile on your face, because then that just goes to show that fucking there's a selfishness on your side and evil, you know. And so this is why I think fucking good is more of an illusion than it is. You know, we live in a universe where evil has one up on good, and that's just the way it is. So, you know, fucking these Nordics are not just, they're not righteous, and they're scumbag pieces of fucking shit, and fucking and they're either blind to it, they're either victims of this matrix themselves, trustees that fucking, you know, that have somewhat of an idea what's going on outside of the walls, but are living so good in prison that they'd rather sit here and fucking, you know, keep us stuck here. The real wolves, the real fucking the real guardians to humanity, the real fucking, you know, this real samurai, or fucking or they just, you know, these Nordics, they're not. I mean, they keep the real fucking, you know, human beings fucking stuck at the bottom of their fucking shoes. That's the way it goes on this planet. The weak are brought up on, you know, the weak are brought. I mean, if you're not too weak, then you're brought up on a pedestal, and you're fucking, and you basically get to step on the strong. The system targets the strong first. It's about destroying the strong, because anybody who's strong can bring down the system. Anybody who's spiritually strong is a threat to the system and the aliens that control it. They don't want strong people walking around society. This whole entire system is designed. Society is designed to bring down the strong, to make everyone weak. And those that are fucking sitting on the top of this fucking system, like the Nordics, they're the weakest of them all in some sense. And at their core, they're pretty weak because fucking they're the backbone to this fucking system. They're sitting on that golden pedestal and fucking and keeping us, the real strong people, from fucking getting out of this matrix, and then knocking that fucking golden pedestal off from under them, and giving them what they fucking justly deserve, punishment, and then fucking punishing the aliens that put these pricks in charge in the first place, and are the reason for all of our suffering.